I do have leverage. The Bengals have their process and I have my process. We haven't even gotten to the NFL Combine yet. There's a lot of things that happen leading up to the draft and a lot of information gathered. Quickly, Dan Graziano, our insider extraordinaire. People will hear that and they will say, that doesn't sound like a guy who's thinking, boy, I can't wait to get to Cincinnati. There'd be nothing wrong with him saying that if that's how he felt.
Yeah, and people are hearing it that way, no doubt about it. We talked about this on Tuesday on this show. So I called some people after I left on Tuesday and tried to get a sense of what's going on. The message I got was, Joe Burrow he's a young man who's going through this for the first time. He's not necessarily expecting all his words to be parsed for meaning. He's not out there trying to send a subtle message about the Bengals. He's just answering questions in an interview. At the same time, he's also working out with Jordan Palmer, brother of Carson and former Bengal, who, we all know about the way it ended with Carson Palmer in Cincinnati. And he's probably hearing some things about the Bengals that aren't very flattering. So the sense I get is that in the end, this is all fine. He's going to be on the Bengals. He's going to love being the first pick in the draft. He's from Ohio. His parents can drive to see his games and all that. But in the meantime, I think there's at least a little bit of something going on behind the scenes that someone or some people are putting in his head about that's not really the place to go and have great success.
So the point that you just made, in case you don't remember, Carson Palmer retired rather than continue playing for the Bengals, and it wasn't until they traded him to the Raiders that he wound up coming back and playing and having a second act. So you obviously covered him all season long, doing College Game Day and everything else. And you were the first person I heard here on our show to say Joe Burrow is better than Tua Tagovailoa. So with all the talk about Tua and all the rest of that, if Tua Tagovailoa were healthy going into this draft, who would you take as the #1 quarterback?
Joe Burrow, and it's not even a discussion. To me, it's not even close. I don't know what the talk is about, those two, even if Tua was healthy. I think Joe Burrow is more of a prototypical NFL quarterback. He processes information very quickly. When you look at Tua, the reason he got hurt, his hip got dislocated because he held the ball too long. When you look at Joe Burrow, it's not just about being accurate, it's about ball placement and the way that things that he learned from Coach Brady, who came over from the Saints, an NFL concept offense. This guy is just ready for the NFL. So I thought early in the season, I thought he was much better than Tua. I would definitely take Joe Burrow over Tua.
I would lean towards that, Dez, as far as being in the college system. But the same conversation we had about Joe Burrow was the conversation about Tua, previous to Joe Burrow. Listen, Joe Burrow is 2 years removed from throwing 16 touchdowns. Obviously, it was a different system, and you put him in a great situation. He had a great performance. If anybody would like to see a quarterback be drafted #1 overall from LSU, it's me. But I know that this narrative would be totally different. You know who else threw for 400 yards in the LSU-Bama game? Tua.
Yeah.
You know who else? So there was this
on one leg.
This injury is the reason why we are talking about Joe Burrow having leverage. You think if Joe Burrow didn't clearly identify that he wanted to be a Cincinnati Bengal without Tua having an injury, that it wouldn't be, Tua going to Cincinnati then. Like this is a unique situation for Joe Burrow, where the other guy that could very well have been the #1 overall pick if Joe Burrow would have still had the same type of season, was injured. So now he has the leverage as far as being that one identifiable guy that can go #1.
The reason I think this is worth talking about, and probably all the way through April, is if the Bengals decide that the margin between Burrow and the other two big quarterbacks in this draft is not that wide, there are ways of moving back, still getting one of those quarterbacks, and adding to a team that is bad and needs help in a lot of different places. That seems to me it's on the table unless they feel Burrow is just head and shoulders the best.
Right, and at this point, that's where they are, that's going to be Burrow. They're locked in there. They want him to be there. But, I mean, you are right. If the Burrow side wanted to muck it up a la Eli Manning in 2004, yes, then that would be the Bengals' course of action. But I don't expect that to happen.
Condon is his agent. Same agent Eli had when they pulled the Jack move.
Correct. I mean, I don't think it is as cut and dried as it is being presented.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports and analysis, download the ESPN app, and for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus.